Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. Welcome to your Sunday live prog stream. Hey, boys and girls. For those of you that don't know, we do it each and every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. People are still finding out about it. This is weird to me. You know, we've been doing this for like 2 years now, and people are still just finding out about the live show. But it's been awesome, and today is going to be an amazing, amazing show as we talk about our favorite American albums. Let's run through the All-Star cast real quick, and then we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of this thing. We've got with us Kevin from Prog Radio. Kevin, good morning.
Morning. Woo! Yeah, you better get right into it. It's going to take, we got a lot of people here to talk about 10 albums here. Each.
That's right. That's right. Back for his second time in the Prog Corner, it's none other than Brad Stone. Brad, welcome back, sir.
Great to be back, Scott. Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm an old prog rock guy going back to my teenage years way back. So this is going to be fun.
For those of you that don't remember, Brad was with us when we did our Fusion show. He was the reason we did the Fusion show. So all you clowns that like jazz fusion, Brad, a great thanks, because that was an awesome show. Back for, I don't know, how many times have you've been on the show now, Cody? 60, 70, I don't know. Cody from Brockway's Vinyl Bites, how are you?
I'm really good, and I'm really, really, really happy to be here.
Why are you on this episode? You're Canadian.
I know. And I'm close enough to Buffalo here in Ontario, but there's a lot of American music that I really like, and so we're going to chat about it.
All right, well, you're the beneficiary of me making a huge tactical and logistical error. I guess I just don't know geography that good, but I'm not gonna uninvite somebody as awesome as Cody. Brent Bristow from Emerald City Council is in the house. Brent, you have some exciting news, don't you?
We do. We're going to finally, all five of us, Jake Livgren, Noah Hungate, Seth Hankerson, Jeremy Nichols, and me, probably one more utility person that we haven't announced yet. We're going to be doing a show on September 23rd on campus at the school where I teach, Arkansas State. So we're going to all five be in one place. We're going to have some vinyl for sale, some CDs for sale, and we will sign everything. So we're hoping this is going to be the first of many Emerald City Council performances.
Yeah, where is BB on the map in relation to like Little Rock?
Okay, we're only about 20 minutes northeast of Little Rock.
Okay.
So just up the road.
You know what? It's the center of everything, right? You can get to Arkansas, boys and girls. Check your map. It's closer than you think. A road trip might be called for Emerald City Council's first ever live show. Very excited. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be
Tulsa,
awesome, man.
Yeah, Tulsa's 5 hours away, a little over that to Dallas, about 2 hours to Memphis, about 6 hours to St. Louis, not far. Yeah.
Right in the middle of everything. Yeah. As is our good friend Kiefer.
Well, my question for Cody, what Metallica shirt is that?
This is actually show exclusive to April 26th, the second night of Toronto, Rogers Center.
Yeah, good stuff.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And back with us again is the ever popular, the ever controversial, the ever youthful Kiefer Livingston. How are you? So it looks like you're in the middle of like a public park or something. And now you look all frozen up. Oh, man, Kiefer, you're worth it. You're worth the trouble. You're worth the hassle. I know I never have to worry about technical glitches when you're talking about an absolute pro like our final panelist. Ian B. about, oh, man, he was so good last time we had him on. He's going to get the invite kind of semi-regularly. Ian, how are you?
Doing well, Scott. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for joining us on short notice. I just asked. I'm like, hey, Ewan would be great for this panel. And here we go. He's here, so this is going to be amazing. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I hope you all had a great 4th of July. We're talking about American music here. Kiefer, I guess he'll show up when he shows up. But, I forget stuff a lot. I get all amped up and worked up and stuff. So before we get started, let's talk about our next couple episodes. Next week, we're doing Dead rock stars, people that we would want to have come back. This was actually Kevin's idea, and I love it. He made a thumbnail for it and everything. He didn't need to sell me like that. I was already in. I love it. So I'm going to be resurrecting some people next Sunday. I know it's not Easter, but we can still do it anyway. So it's going to be our favorite, dead rock stars, who we'd want to bring back. That's a cool topic. And then July 20th. Oh, boys and girls, Ken Golden's been busy. He's got this new record coming out by a band called Aggro Pelter.
Right on.
Look at that. Look how cool that is, man. Oh, this is a dude from Norway named Kay Olsen. And listen to this rhythm section. You might dig this a little bit. How about Jonas Reingold and Matthias Olsen from Engelgard?
Oh,
that's your rhythm section on here, boys and girls. Oh, man. We're going to have him on the show. We're probably going to have Ken Golden on the show with him, talking about Aggro Pelter and what's going on with the amazing amount of great music in Norway. And then July 27th, Alex Roten from the Gatekeepers is going to be joining us. I could go on and on about this band. Ian's shaking his head. Ian, do you know this band?
I don't. I'm just.
Oh, my God. Neither did I.
I know Ken Golden, and I know Matthias Olsen from the last one, so I'm like, okay, whatever this is, I'm interested in it.
This is just ridiculous. This is the new Gatekeepers.
Okay.
But the one before that, let me just name off some of the people that guest star on this. I've got Morgan Agron. If you know drumming, you know Morgan. Dan Britton, Mont Campbell, Sheer Accident, Bob Drake. Come on, man. Just on and on and on. Oh, Matthew Parmenter from Discipline, The Residents. It's just insane. So we're going to have him on July 27th talking about the records that influenced him and made him the man that he is today. So that's our content going forward. Kiefer, welcome back.
Yep. I guess the phone said that it's got too hot.
Okay, well, it happens. It's hot out there today, Kiefer.
So I had to put the radio on and blast Van Halen for about 2 minutes.
Well, maybe you should do a little rundown while we still have you. I get the feeling that we might not have you for long. So why don't you regale us with some picks, Kiefer?
Okay, so I got a little bit of a different taste than all the other guys here. Why do I look like a nerd with that? Okay, yeah.
I don't know, Kiefer. Why?
This is Star Trek. Star Trek. Got my list here. I have a little bit of a different area, a different planet that I'm on. Of course, being Mr. Prog Metal here. And I should say, I don't know if I told everybody here, but I think 5 out of the 7 panelists, a few of us Hall of Famed Kansas Dream Theater for the discussion. Talk about them all the time. So I put my Portnoy albums at the bottom. My number 10, guys may be shocked that I picked this. Flying Colors, Third Degree.
Nice.
It is my favorite Flying Colors album. I know I'm weird.
No,
it's my favorite. It's my favorite too, but it's not most people's favorite. But it's my favorite.
It's mine too. Yeah.
That's an overlooked one. When they released that, I thought like, where's the hoopla over this album? It just kind of came and went. That's a great album.
Yeah, that's true.
I enjoy the more soloings more. So particularly Neil, I enjoy the soloing more on that than on Second Nature. That's why I bumped that up.
Okay.
And those two 10-minuters on there, Last Train Home and what's the Crawl, so good. Yeah. Absolutely. All 3 of the Flying Colors albums are must-owns. They're like, maybe I'd probably give Third Degree a 5 and the other 4.5. Must-own. My number 9 is, I'm going to go with, this is my most recent pick, 2020. Sons of Apollo, for 2020. For anybody who isn't aware, Sons of Apollo was one of the 80,000 bands Mike Portnoy outside of Dream Theater. put out 2 fantastic albums. The highlights, the Portnoy departure from Green record. I like the second a little bit more.
Is Kiefer's audio cutting in and out for everybody?
Yeah.
I getting every like third or fourth word, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think you might need to move closer to your phone so it's not cutting out.
2020, just a great record.
Okay.
It's great to hear. It's great to hear Sherinian on a prog metal album because then he brings the Hammond and more Sherinian to come. My number 8, my most out there choice. It's not really a prog album. I went with the Shred album, Shrapnel. And I don't care. I'm picking it because Cody will probably pick Metallica something. My number 8 is Tony McAlpine, Edge of Insanity.
Wow.
Nice.
I don't know how much the panel's aware of that. Tony McAlpine is an absolute beast.
Yeah.
That dude, he is on 3 out of my 10 albums, and he's off the charts on this record. The only guy I've heard at that level be that good on guitar and on piano as well. He's phenomenal. He shreds the whole album, and then he plays the hardest Chopin prelude.
Hey everybody, it's Progad in the house. We need to get Progad over 1,000 subs. Let's do. I don't know if he is or not. I didn't bring my phone in here with me. Last time I checked, he was at like 993 subs. Let's do everything we can. Click onto the Progad channel. Subscribe to him. He's awesome. Great dude. Great content. Continue, Cody.
Well, it's Kiefer.
Oh, Kiefer's turn. That's right. My bad. Did I say Cody?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, go ahead, Kiefer.
Well,
While you're still here.
Might be kind of a hard sell for the rest of the panel, Scott, but we should probably do a Shrapnel show sometime.
I'd be interested.
Some good stuff. Love that stuff. Number 7, my oldest, Dixie Dregs. What if?
Ooh.
Good one.
Steve Morse is probably my all-time favorite guitarist. He's up there for sure. And I think what I first heard of them because of Dream Theater, Change of Seasons, the EP, when they cover Cruise Control in that little medley. And I just I got to hear this. So give Progad 3 more subs, everybody.
3 more subs. Let's get Progad at 1,000. Let's do it right now. I don't even care if you click off this stream.
Yeah. What if?
I can't believe I just said that. Oh no. Whatever you need to do, let's get Progad at 1,000 today.
My number 6. I sent this record to Cody the other day.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
At the very next yeah. Talk about causing controversy in the chat. Thanks, Ken. Can we replace Golden in the chat with Feigenbaum? Number 6. I sent this to Cody the other day, and it was on the Brockway's Vinyl Bites show the next Thursday. Planet X Moon Babies.
Yeah,
oh my
right.
God! What an amazing record! Just anybody who doesn't know Planet X, they are probably the greatest instrumental metal group, certainly of the last 20, 25 years. Derek Sherinian, Tony McAlpine on guitar, Sherinian does keyboard work, and Virgil Donati on drums and various bass. Billy Sheehan's on there for one. I can't think of any of the other basses. That record is just insane. If you have it and you like, Liquid Tension, some of your other metal, go hear this as soon as we're done. Number 5, Fate's Warning, Pleasant Shade of Gray. Does have a couple high-profile people. Of course, the session keyboardist was Kevin Moore, at that time formerly of Dream Theater, and the producer was Terry Brown, who produced for Rush.
Yeah.
This record is, I'm getting blank stares from the panel, so I'm guessing nobody knows it. But Scott probably does. Scott, we should
You want to do Fate's Warning next too?
Yeah, you got to do the Holy Trinity. I gotta shut up. Fate's,
Yeah.
record,
You do. You need to keep it moving. We got 7 on the panel, Kiefer.
this record is a 54-minute track, and it's see people do this all the no. This really is a 54-minute track. You can't just start in the middle of this thing. It's a very dark, very emotional album, but it still has the great playing that I demand. So, absolute masterpiece. Maybe not even I probably like the art stuff a little more, but other than that, yeah. My number 4. I sent this to Brent last night, not realizing he was going to be on the panel this morning, which I'm not supposed to do. So well, it's a band out of New Jersey that I don't know if a lot of people in the prog community are aware of, called Thank You Scientist.
Oh yeah,
Twice. Great band.
My dad's watching this, and he's going to be like, yes, because he loves those guys.
I first turned on to Thank You Scientist. It remains the only prog band I was turned on to in person. I was turned on to them by my band director a few years back. And their music kind of sounds like, I can't remember who said this. Somebody compared them to a mixture of Dream Theater, Chicago, Gentle Giant, King Crimson, and Van de Graaff Generator.
And Michael Jackson.
I mean, that instrumental on there that I had up on my Facebook, yes, that thing is so good. They're awesome. I got another Jersey band up in my number 3, Symphony X, Paradise Lost.
Oh, good boy.
I love Symphony X. They're my number 2 prog metal band after Dream Theater. They probably my favorite X record. Pretty much relentlessly heavy. Russell Allen's amazing. Michael Romeo's amazing. Go hear it. My number 2, another out there choice. Brad, I'm sure, is aware of this. Is a record called debut from a fusion band called Cab. Remember that, Brad? Oh my God, people! If you haven't heard this, go. It's probably hard to track down physicals up now, so you probably have to YouTube it, unless you want to spend $80 on it. But
yeah, I don't know that one. What is that? Cab? CAB?
They put out 4 fantastic albums. They were just covered on 4 Fusion Friday the other day, and George said,
I don't know them.
Holy crap! What is this? It's Tony McAlpine doing keyboards and guitars, and Bunny Brunel on bass, and Dennis Chambers, otherwise known as God, on drums.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's quite a lineup.
So good, so good. My number 1 is a fusion record, and I had to put it number 1 because it's probably like my favorite album ever, or close. Romantic Warrior: Return to Forever.
Oh,
Could have gone with him.
Korea appears on one of mine, so
Nice.
That lineup of Return to Forever, Chick, Al Di Meola, Lenny White, Stanley Clark, remains the only lineup where all members of the band are in my top 5 of their instruments. Hearing that was like, I had heard prog before. It had that little bit of prog, but the playing was well beyond any prog that anybody will ever hear. So,
excellent choice.
Nuts. If you don't know fusion, this will make you like fusion.
Yeah, it's the kind of record I think everyone should know. I mean, even if, like, I'm not a big fusion guy, but I'm with you on that one. I mean, there's just certain records you need in your life.
That solo on Sorceress from Chick. Good.
Beautiful. Good call. Ian, you're shaking your head. I know you got some thoughts on Kiefer's list.
What cuneiform band are we going with? Thinking Plague or Ed Palermo Big Band?
Actually, that's a good way in because I didn't do a top 10 list so much. I was going to do chronological because this topic is so broad. I think I had 30 albums. So I'm just going to try and rip down my 10 best. And since Kiefer asked about cuneiform bands, I'm going to talk about my friends in the Muffins.
Oh,
they're a DC-based band, also Gaithersburg, Maryland. But a couple of years ago, I did a big 13-disc box set from these guys. And Dave Newhouse is a good friend of mine and client. And this is what they call Americanterbury. They're a United States-based band, but they are influenced by the likes of Henry Cowell, Hatfield in the North and the Rotters Club, Frank Zappa, Sun Ra. It's just a mixture of all kinds of like free jazz, rock music. And there's no guitar player. There's two saxophonists. The bass player is kind of the guitarist in the band. And unfortunately, he passed away last year. So rest in peace to Billy Swan. But
I told you, Ian was going to class up the joint. He's the very first Muffins mention on the Prog Corner. We've been on the air for 3.5 years. We've been doing this. Very first time we've talked about the Muffins on the Prog Corner. Thank you, Ian. Awesome. I love that record, by the way.
So that's my first choice, and I do recommend that you check out the box set. It's called The Baker's Dozen, and it's one of my favorite things that I've ever worked on. So PSA there.
Mm-hmm.
But
who are the sax players, by the way?
Dave Newhouse plays sax, and Tom Scott. And by the way, it's not the same Tom Scott who played with Joni Mitchell. It's a different Tom Scott.
Different Tom Scott. Okay.
But they both play tenor sax.
Yeah.
It's not the same Tom Scott on Paul McCartney's "Listen to What the Man Said." Different guy.
No. Different Tom Scott.
Interestingly, Lawrence Juber, that played guitar for Paul McCartney, lives in the house that Tom Scott grew up in.
See, that's just it's like David Lynchian level of coincidence. But yeah, okay. So I guess I'm going to pick up my chronological order, and we're going to go back to 1966 with Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys. Now, I consider this to be not necessarily a progressive rock album, but a progressive pop album. And if you look at some of the advertisements from back when this came out in music papers, it was being described as that. And I think the reason for that is, number one, you have Brian Wilson, rest in peace, who was like an auteur producer. Everything was coming out of his head and coming through the musicians' instruments and onto the recording, and he was mixing it. But the other thing that I think is important is that progressive rock, to me, is taking rock instruments and making orchestral timbres, whereas this is taking orchestral instruments and making rock music. But it's a beautiful album. It's full of songs that feel like they're about me and people I know and experiences I've had. I mean, if you've never listened to the song "I Just Wasn't Made for These Times," when this stream is over, go check that out. If you think you know the Beach Boys from Fun, Fun, Fun and Surfing USA and all that stuff, this is a different sort of thing. But I absolutely adore this album, and it's very important to me. I've been listening to it a lot lately, and it's one of my favorite United States albums.
It had to be mentioned. It had to be mentioned on this episode by somebody. So thank you.
And I
for
think
that.
if we were doing the best songs ever, "God Only Knows" is going to be.
God
on
Only
that
Knows.
list.
It's got to be on that list. And Caroline No, I think, is an incredible composition. But I also wanted to point out that there was an intended follow-up to this called "Smile," which was one of the most, glorious examples of warped Americana. Taking you from Plymouth Rock all the way to Hawaii, and a trip through American history. And there's some dark stuff in there. There's some foreboding warnings about the future in songs like "Surf's Up." It's not one of my choices today, since it's basically an album that didn't get finished until 2004. But I thought I'd mention it because it's an essential slice of Americana, in my opinion. So up next, I had to have a Zappa. You know me.
Good boy.
Frank Zappa is my favorite artist of all time.
Uncle.
And
Wow, he pulls up the meat.
Well, I just wanted to mention this one because for years it was my 4th of July routine. Right, my 4th of July ritual is that I would play this. And I remember one summer when I was building my studio, I set my PA system out in the front yard. This was back when I lived out in the country, and played this entire record and went for a swim. And it's just forever caked in my memory. But
well, it's 4th of July. You got the hot dogs on the grill. You got the burgers. You got the chicken. It's
cruising.
Uncle Meat, my friend. It's the 4th of July. I love it.
We're cruising for burgers, Scott. We don't just have them on the grill. We're cruising for burgers. But
yeah, we are.
I would also recommend Rolling It for the Money. It's like, in the middle of the night, you're flipping through channels and all this weird stuff comes on. There's some social commentary in there. There's some goofy songs. But it's been recognized by the Library of Congress for a good reason. So definitely recommend Rolling It for the Money. Next
definitely.
up, I don't know if I'm at how many I've got here.
Whatever.
And believe me, I'm jumping around quite a bit. But I had to mention Captain Beefheart. We went from Uncle Meat to Beef.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the reason why I wanted to mention this album is that this is a complete radical reinvention of how to make an album. We are tearing apart harmony, tearing apart melody, reconstructing rhythms, performance. Listen to this and your life will never be the same. And the thing is that the first time you hear it, it's a cacophonous mess. And a lot of people do discount it as that. But spend a lifetime with it. Listen to it many, many times over a lifetime, and it'll start making sense. And that's a preview of one of my other choices. But all other music sounds rather tame after you spend some time with this guy. So I wanted to mention this album.
Love it.
But
love it. I've known it for 50 years, Ian, and it still kind of doesn't make sense sometimes. I think that's its charm. Is like you never really completely 100% understand it.
Exactly, but if you kind of let it wash over you,
it starts making sense.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that David Lynch listened to it on repeat when he was making Eraserhead. That makes total sense to me. But my next choice,
go? Where'd Brad go? Is he still around, or did he just like
he's hiding?
Okay.
He's hiding. My next choice, and I'm going to try to make this quick, but I believe that progressive rock fans need to accept progressive soul into our canon. I'm talking about albums like Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. I'm talking about Stevie Wonder. I'm talking about Funkadelic and Parliament. And I'm talking about Sly and the Family Stone. Also, Sly Stone passed away, unfortunately. But the album that I wanted to bring up is Funkadelic and America Eats Its Young. It's a terrific album. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of it on me. But it's a double album that there's social commentary, there's fun songs on there. And what's interesting about America Eats Its Young is guitarist Eddie Hazel, who's kind of like the Hendrix protege of the band, was in jail when they recorded that. So he only appears on one or two songs, and the organ player, the keyboard player, kind of takes over. So it's a bit proggier for them. And I think if prog fans are looking into a way into progressive soul, that America Eats Its Young is a great place to start.
Nice.
Next up, we're going to move to the 80s with two albums. One is Stop Making Sense by the Talking Heads. And I just wanted to mention this one because this is an antidepressant for me. When I'm feeling down or just kind of beaten by the world, I put this thing on. It always brings a smile to my face. It's a big party. It's great tunes and infectious energy. But a much less known album that I wanted to talk about from the 80s is Warren Zevon's Transverse City. Now, many of you may know Warren Zevon from Werewolves of London, but this is Warren doing a post-apocalyptic, John Carpenter-esque hellscape of an album. This is dystopia. And the thing is that it was recorded back in 1989, and in 2025, it's like looking out the window. I can't believe how resonant this album is. And for prog fans, David Gilmour makes an appearance. For fans of the Grateful Dead, Jerry Garcia's on the title track.
My guy.
Chick Corea plays one heck of a solo on The Long Arm of the Law. But this is a fantastic album. It's a concept album. It's the only one he ever made. Every song hits for me. I also wanted to mention Ween, Quebec, The Mollusk, The Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Covers all kinds of different ground with great songs. Wanted to mention Mike Keneally, former member of Frank Zappa's band. I listened to Sluggo this week. Highly recommend that. Great mixture of great tunes, great playing, humor, everything in between. I know I'm got two more choices here, but I wanted to have one semi-traditional prog album. This is Ekelund's Self-Titled from 2012.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just, it's so unpretentious. It's a prog album, but it feels so genuine. And I also wanted to shout out my mom because this is one of her favorite albums. And there's not too much we agree on musically. She also loves the Beach Boys. But we listen to this every year when we travel to North Carolina. finally, and that's for Prog Day, by the way. But finally, I wanted to mention my friend Damon Waitkiss and the band Jack of the Clock. This is repetitions of the Old City One. And I saw them during this era. Jack of the Clock are, I would call them like avant-garde Americana. It's like Van Dyke Parks mixed with Henry Cow or something like that. But the songwriting is fantastic. The performances are fantastic. This is progressive rock with a bassoon. And just tell me that and you got me hooked. But I love this album, and I wanted to recommend it.
Good call.
But anyway, those are my picks. I could do this for another hour. I've got a whole nother stack of CDs to go through, but I figured I'd turn it over to someone else.
It's an impossible task. We could be on for 3 hours easily.
Yes, easily.
I know. I just had to make a change too, and it's just like the thinking in my head, like, oh, I left out this band. Oh, I better go.
By the way, shout out to Feigenbaum, who put out that first record Ian held up, for being relentlessly weird for 40 years and putting out some crazy but awesome music. And he's not Ken Golden awesome, but he's pretty cool.
He's pretty awesome. Yeah. Good call.
He's my buddy and a client. Good guy.
I'm sure he'll see this and start weeping like he did that one. On.
Nice. Well, hey, I've been really, really curious what Brad's going to bring to the table. He's got a whole different take. This is a dude who's, Brent is actually a professor, like technically has that title. You might as well just give Brad that title too. This guy's music knowledge is unbelievable. So we're talking about American albums, Brad. And what are some of your favorites?
Actually, I do have that title, but professor of chemistry. But
that doesn't count. Don't be throwing technicalities at us there now.
I'm also in the music department at Gavilan College, so I teach a course called the History of Jazz and Rock. So
I stand corrected then, right? Okay.
I don't need to put my professor hat on, but so here's what I did, Scott. And Kiefer and I had an exchange back and forth about what we were going to do. And I think a lot of people think of me just as being a jazz guy because of my current radio program. And I have been doing jazz radio for 40 plus years, but I've also been doing prog rock radio for 40 plus years. And so I'm an old prog rock guy. So I decided that, because we could do a whole show like this just on American jazz rock fusion, right? Or jazz fusion. So I decided to stick exclusively to prog rock. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I've got 10 picked out here, and then I've got several honorable mentions. In fact, I'm glad that Ian brought up the term progressive pop because some of those fall into that category. Now, these are not in any particular order. I didn't try to rank them, except for the final one will be sort of my top choice, okay? I'm going to start with things that I have on CD first and then get to the LPs. So out of Minnesota, there's a group, speaking of cuneiform records, Bubble Math.
Oh, yeah. I saw them too. Great band.
They're incredible instrumentalists.
Exit Peptide.
Call it avant-garde rock, call it, math rock. Definitely worth checking out.
Amazing. Okay. Great band.
You lost me at math. They said there would be no math.
I couldn't help it.
School in West Virginia. I can't math.
Bubble Math was highly recommended. Bubble Math. Awesome.
This is a group out of the San Francisco Bay Area, and because I'm close to that area, and also, having been at San Jose State for many years, and they used to occasionally play live on campus, the Attila and Dave Project. So they have a few albums out. Here's 3 of them, and led by Attila Medvecki, and he plays keyboards, he plays guitar, and then Dave Stevenson on bass, and a really tasteful drummer, Rusty Aceves. Definitely worth trying to track these guys down. Here's one that Kiefer is going to be really happy with me for choosing, but I don't understand really why this band isn't bigger than they are, but Symphony X. So, I've got the Divine Wings of Tragedy, which I think, some incredible keyboard work by Michael Piniella. And as a keyboardist myself, astounding, really. I mean, in terms of, prog metal, I don't think it gets any better than Symphony X.
I describe that as Bay meets Dream Theater with Ronnie James Dio on vocals and Kerry Livgren writes the vocal melodies. And if you like any of those four, you will like that album. Masterpiece, top genre.
Yeah.
That almost made my list until like just a few minutes ago. So that's a great album. Great choice.
Name me one more song better than Sins and Shadows. The song is so good.
Here's another band out of the San Francisco Bay Area that may not be as well known as they should be, but sort of in the classic prog rock sound, maybe your neo-prog, Enchant.
Oh, yeah.
I almost grabbed that exact one.
Yeah.
Ted Leonard.
Yeah, we like Enchant around here. Ted Leonard. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get into some LPs that I have here. Now this first one, and they have quite a few albums out, and I actually got to see them live many years ago. But I chose the first album because it's incredible for a number of reasons. One of them being that one side is like 32 minutes long. I think it's the longest side of an LP, of any LP that I've ever seen or heard. And for that reason, sonically, the album's not that great because, to try to cram 32 minutes, that mastering engineer must have been working some magic. But, when you make the grooves that close together, then you get crosstalk, right? But Utopia, Todd Rundgren's Utopia, incredible progressive rock, really. And I think sometimes they get forgotten about because of Todd Rundgren's, pop music, right? Here's a band, and I think that there were originally only like 50 copies of this album made, and they're out of Jacksonville, Florida, from back in the 70s. And they were often accused of being too derivative of Genesis, but they're kind of like Genesis on steroids, really. The group is Babylon.
Okay.
And this album is worth tracking down. I think that they ultimately ended up making some more copies of this. So if you can find it, by all means, it's definitely worth, especially if you're a Genesis fan.
Yeah, I thought they were from St. Petersburg.
Oh, I stand corrected. You're right, Scott. They are from St. Petersburg.
You see, what I love about that record is similar to England's Garden Shed. Like if you take a snare drum and you flip it over, it has those wires, right, Cody? Right? Like snip two of them off and only leave one wire.
Oh, geez, I don't know about that.
It's a whole different sound, man. It gives that snare it kind of sort of works. I love it.
Kevin Shirley snare sound.
No, not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, like it's pretty much like the snare is off at that point, right?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's almost a high tom at that point, but it's wild. It's just enough of that little rattle to make it snare eat.
I think Danny Carey would like that.
Yeah,
maybe Bill Bruford too.
So back in my university days, I got to see. I went to a concert. It was a triple bill, if you can believe it. The opening act was Rush on their Fly By Night tour.
Oh wow!
The headliner was Kansas Song for America. The middle group was Star Castle.
Oh, the Yes Band.
And
almost made my list.
Again, a band that was often accused of being too derivative of Yes, but they were really original in terms of their songwriting.
They're awesome.
I think they're incredible.
Very good band.
Great album.
I'm
Love
sure
it.
somebody else is going to mention this band, but really unique in terms of their sound. You can identify them within 4 notes, but Happy the Man.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just got that. I need to listen to it, but I've heard so many good things about them.
Oh man, it's amazing. You are in for a treat, Ian. It is just amazing. It's so good.
I got a quick story. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have like a 20-second story. But last year when I was working at Prague Day, we had Adam Holzman from Steven Wilson's band.
Yeah.
And with Jane Getter. And they were playing Happy the Man over the PA system. And Adam Holzman looked at me and he said, "They're the greatest United States progressive rock band."
Yeah.
So would you guys agree with that, Brad?
I'm sorry?
Would you agree with that, Brad? Are they the greatest U.S. progressive rock band?
Well, they're one of them. That's, I guess, why they made my top 10. But I'm gonna choose another band for my personal greatest. But somebody just put in the chat this group, and so it just happened to be that the timing. But Fire Ballet.
Yeah.
And this has got to be the worst LP cover ever.
Yes, that's horrible.
But the album, the music is great. Very original band. I think
What was that album called? Tutu?
Tutu. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, cute.
That's why
That's their
they're in
second
Tutu.
album. Real cute.
Horrible.
No, their first album was really great too.
Oh yeah. That first album was amazing. And
Here's
that
the
dude is
band.
now in Nectar.
Mm.
The
I
dude
saw them
from
too.
Fire Ballet's he's in Nectar now. So that's
Oh.
always fun.
I do think Starcastle Reel to Reel has the worst cover. Worse than
That
that
cover's terrible.
one. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's hard to compete with this one though.
There we go.
Reel to Reel is pretty bad.
All right, here's my I would say my personal favorite American prog rock band, and certainly Kansas would be right up there. I mean, I've been a long time Kansas fan, and one of my honorable mentions. But Kiefer said we're gonna put them in the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah, just in case anybody missed it, Kiefer had this self-imposed no Kansas, no Dream Theater, no Mike Portnoy rule, right? Was that your rule?
I did Portnoy.
Well, he broke the Portnoy rule.
You
with
broke the Portnoy
flying
rule.
colors.
Yeah.
How dare you?
So Ian already mentioned this particular album, and we didn't confer about this. I could have chose any one of their albums, and the thing that's great about them that really makes them truly progressive is that every one of their records is different, and yet it still sounds like them. And their latest 2 albums that came out simultaneously are just brilliant. But Echolin.
Oh yeah.
I chose this one because being a
Windows.
double album, and there's so many great compositions on here, and my favorite, Islands, just stupendous. Now I've got a
Genius.
few honorable mentions. Do you want me to save them for the end, Scott? If we
Yeah,
have
go
time?
for it. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to do it real quick.
Yeah.
So, Kiefer also wanted to put in the Hall of Fame Dream Theater, but I decided I'm going to mention them. And this
Good
is
choice.
my personal favorite album, Octavarium. Now,
I love
I know
it.
that Scenes from a Memory Part 2 is often, mentioned as their greatest album, and I love that one too. But Octavarium, and then this is a band out of Austin, Texas, I wanted to mention. And I made them honorable mention because I haven't really explored their music enough yet. But the Aaron Clift Project.
Oh yeah, we had Aaron on the show. He was my very first interview, Kevin.
Oh wow!
Really?
The
Oh,
very
wow.
first person we ever had on the channel.
Yeah,
in,
12
like, an
people
interview.
tuned in, and
Not even. It was bad. It was sad.
Now I briefly
that record's great.
mentioned Kansas, and now their first album I think is one of the all-time great first albums, any genre. Song for America is brilliant, and people often refer to Leftoverture as their masterpiece. But the one in the middle, Mask, often gets ignored.
So good.
And is it their best album? No. But for those people who like the Kansas on the heavier rockin' side, Mask is brilliant for that reason. But also there's a couple of awesome Kerry Livgren compositions on here, and Mysteries and Mayhem. I mean, this album really shouldn't be ignored.
Absolutely not. Any album with Icarus on it cannot
Yeah,
be ignored,
absolutely.
brother. That album's just ridiculous. It's sickeningly good. I'm sorry. I'm on record as saying the first 6 Kansas albums are pretty much all perfect. I just love them all, man. I really do.
Icarus is my favorite Kansas song. More on that album later.
I would definitely agree with the first 6 being, masterpieces. Now, Ian had mentioned the term progressive pop, and I often use that to describe the next couple of groups, but I think that they deserve to be mentioned. Ambrosia.
Oh, yeah. Somewhere I've never traveled.
These guys, and I saw them live a couple times, and they're just incredible. And
good call.
I think progressive pop kind of fits them.
Didn't Alan Parsons produce them, or am I thinking of somebody else?
Yeah, first 2 albums.
First 2 albums.
First 2 albums.
Technically, he engineered the first one, and he engineered and produced the second.
He got a Grammy nomination for the first one.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, brilliant work. This is a band that this is truly, I would say, a progressive pop album. Every song on here is just so good. Great songwriting. I'll make particular mention of the keyboardist Patrick Leonard, who went on to be the musical director for Madonna, and that's Trillion. Great songwriting.
Awesome. That's a great record. I love that record. Somebody was mentioning Zahn. You know, I always put Trillion and Zahn in the same mind space. What do you think about that, Cody?
Well, Zahn are Canadian.
I know. I saw you like mentioning them in the chat. Don't think I'm not reading the chat while I'm talking to you guys.
Well, no, Ken Golden had mentioned Zahn, and he's like, Canada can keep Zahn. I'm like, no, you can you can have them.
You got a beef with Zahn. I know it's supposed to be an American episode, but I'm just curious what your beef is with Zahn.
They're all right, you know. And,
okay. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, continue, Brad.
I've got 2 more. This is a band that everybody, of course, knows, and you know, classic rock band. But I said I wasn't going to mention any jazz fusion, but this album is really kind of a jazz fusion record. No, not kind of. It is. But because everyone thinks of this band as being a rock band, but if you listen to their first 3 albums, they're really more like jazz rock fusion. And that's Journey. Their first album, you know, Greg Rowley, Neil Schon. This is another great first album. And I think it often gets ignored because of their later work with Steve Perry. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention, and I don't have an example to show, but you don't need to see an example. But I grew up in Chicago, so how can I not mention Styx?
I was thinking you were going to say Chicago.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Well, but Chicago, I'm thinking more of jazz fusion, so we'll save that for another show. But I think that they're well. There you go. And Crash of the Crown is. I bought that album. I think it's pretty good. I don't have the most recent one. I guess I got to pick that one up.
But, you do. It's great.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It does have a Canadian on it, though. It does have a Canadian.
Got two Canadians on it, man.
Is Will
disqualify them? But they originated in Chicago. So.
Correct.
Yeah. Canada.
Well, there you go.
Awesome. Good deal. Awesome list, Brad. Bringing the heat. I knew he would. But you know, I think the peeps need to hear from Cody. Cody's just, have you noticed he's just been like chomping at the bit this whole time? Like he just needs to get his word in edgewise. Well, guess what, my friend? Now is the time. It's Cody's top 10. Let's hear what you got with the Canadian is going to tell us about American music. This should be good.
Well, I left off my Max Webster albums, and I left off my Rush albums, and I didn't leave. There is a Canadian that kind of makes his way in here by default, but you'll kind of see when we get there.
You guys are sneaky like that, right? It's like you don't even know who's a Canadian. It's like, did you know Neil Young was? No way, man. Oh, really? And Joni Mitchell? No, come on, man. There's not. Yeah, you guys are sneaky.
There's a couple people, like I just found out like a month ago that Howie Mandel is from Toronto.
See,
like I just, I had no idea. But I'm going to start off. There's at least one thing that Brad mentioned that's going to be in this list, and I'm going to start off with one that I unfortunately don't have because it is so hard to get. But it is Spock's Beard and V from 2000. What a fantastic record that is! It's very good. Ian LaBelle is mentioning Battle Scar, and I got to give Canada a mention here because it's Max Webster with Rush on the same track from 1980.
Oh.
And it is a brilliant track. It is really cool from the Universal Juveniles album. Go check that out. Battle Scar kicks ass. It's awesome. So Spock's Beard to start me off. Just a great record. Wish I could own it. Thank God for YouTube, right? But okay, the next one. I didn't go fully.
You should go into a record store, see if they have one available.
You mean
you know any good record stores out there?
I know Second Chance Records, 20 Argyle Street North, Caledonia, Ontario, Canada. We ship everywhere in the world. $20
except to your own house, apparently.
We don't have the Spock's Beard. It's out of print. You can't get it. But www.secondchancerecords.ca. Anyway, so I didn't go strictly prog. There's obviously most of it's prog, but there's just a couple of things that I just had to sort of bend the rules a little bit because
there are no rules.
Yeah, I didn't have a single prog. Well, maybe I think I had 3 prog albums.
Nowhere on there does it say progressive.
Okay, good.
10 best albums, period.
10 best.
Oh, The Doors.
Yeah.
Love that one. Great album.
This was one of the greatest albums of all time. I'm sure Kiefer's going to say something bad about it.
I don't think Kiefer likes the Doors.
He's
I
wrong.
like Doors.
I absolutely love the Doors. I love all 5 records. I don't count the last 2 because that's just it's 6. Sorry, all the Jim Morrison records, right from this one to L.A. Woman. There's not a bad song on a single one of them.
Nope.
This is
You are correct.
I'm not bothered by the fact that there is no bass on it.
There's bass on every one of the Doors albums.
Yeah, well, this one is literally done by, Ray Manzarek's left hand, but it's a great album. It really is, and I could have gone with any one of them, but this one just has such meaning to me. I mean, the end is just fantastic, and I'm gonna bend the rules even a little bit more here now. A band that sort of was not a prog band, but they definitely dipped their toes into the prog. However, this is kind of them going more Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Actually, I think David Crosby actually sings on one of the songs on this. But with an album title like this, how could I not pick it? Grateful Dead, American Beauty.
Yeah.
I love this record.
Is that
I know.
Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab version?
Yep.
Looks like it. There it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know not everyone is that into the Dead, especially if you come onto something on the prog corner. But you know what? I think they're a great band. And they had really great songs, and they really knew how to stretch things out and sort of evolve things, especially in a live form. And this is them kind of stripping all that down and just going into the studio with nothing and then writing a whole record. And it ends up becoming, like every song on this was a live staple for years to come. I would be remiss if I did not include Dream Theater.
Ah, yeah.
I mean, there's the Canadian connection here, right?
You have to include it.
James Labrie. I know.
That's
I know
right.
Ian LaBelle is probably chomping at the bit, going, "Oh, stop talking about it! I can't, man. This is too good." This is one of my favorite records of all time. The whole concept of this record of the guy who goes through regression therapy and finds out he was murdered as a girl in the past life. It's a really awesome story, and it's just a great album. I mean,
Yes, it is.
I spent a whole day with Dream Theater this week, Cody. I want you to know that. Yes.
Good man. Good man. Yeah, this is Kiefer. Thanks for reminding me that I sound like my father when I say that.
And there's Ian. He's chiming in. He's paying attention, just in case you didn't think he was Cody.
I actually think James Labrie is a good singer. It's just that his style does not fit progressive metal, at least for me. He's like a musical theater singer.
He's very much like he has that sort of operatic side like Bruce Dickinson has.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why they would be going for that, because obviously they're huge Iron Maiden fans, and so I have no issues with James at all. I think if you can pull off a song like Another Day, I think you're a fine singer. So not Prague, but a great band, Dio, Holy Diver.
It's a great album.
One of the all-time classic metal records. I love the prog and metal. They are my two. They're my babies. Prog rock and metal, right? So, yeah, Dio. What can you say about this? Irish guitar player. Obviously, that's important in this household, right? Pretty cool. Just a great band. Yeah, love Dio and all the Black Sabbath and Rainbow and everything. But strictly American. For the 4th of July, I got to go Holy Diver. And then, of course, the band that's on my shirt.
There we go.
Ride the Lightning.
Move it.
American. That's American music right there, son.
Brad, have you ever heard of these guys? You grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Do you know this band?
You me?
Is that directed to me, Cody?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's chiding you.
I
on Metallica.
actually grew up in Chicago, but I've been in the Bay Area for 40 years. So what is the name of the band? I can't see it.
That's Metallica.
Metallica.
Oh, it's Metallica. They just played here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just played
like
here
the
too.
End in the world.
I
Nice.
absolutely like Metallica. I love them so much. They're in my top 5 bands of all time, along there with Genesis, Queen, Beatles, Maiden, Metallica, right there. Absolutely fantastic. Ride the Lightning. I can't pick a favorite Metallica record. For a long time, it was this one, but I really have things that I enjoy about all of them. And Justice for All is probably the most obvious pick in terms of composition and progressive leanings, right? But something about this one, man, I keep going back, and it's not a long album. It's just really great. It's just, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
With guitar, prog. Okay.
I'm going to have, it is very close to Prague, absolutely. I'm going to mention another Bay Area thrash band in a little bit, but we're going to go back to, of course, 1975 with an album that Brad already mentioned in the honorable mentions. I've been paying attention, and this is not their best album, but it has my favorite song by them.
Mask again.
Gross.
Kansas Mask. Yep.
I almost went for this one, but this one was a bit of an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, we've all heard Carry On Wayward Son so many times. This one just kind of sits in the wings. It doesn't get the same recognition, and it absolutely should. We've all heard Dust in the Wind and Carry On, but what about Child of Innocence? What about Mysteries and Mayhem? What about Icarus, Born on the Wings of Steel? And again, it also has that... it has that sort of classic Rocky vibe with tunes like It Takes a Woman's Love to Make a Man. So that's not really full-on prog there, but it is a great prog album. When you're listening to stuff like Child of Innocence and Mysteries and Mayhem and The Pinnacle and all that, it's like, wow, these guys can play. Oh, my God. So amazing. And, I got another... this is the only vinyl I brought on the show. This is Tool and Fear Inoculum. What an absolutely mind-blowing record this was for me. 2019, I saw this tour twice. Absolutely brilliant. And Tool just being one of the bands that sort of spearheaded the prog metal movement. And I find that they don't really get represented with that style of music a lot, but they absolutely should. They're right there with Porcupine Tree. They're right there with Dream Theater. They're right there with Opeth. It's those guys and Tool. And Danny Carey, one of the most masterful drummers ever. I can't even believe him. Unreal. Okay, what do we got next? We got 2 more. So hold your horses. We're going to go to 1990 here with a classic American band, thrash. But honestly, you know what? I find a lot of progressive elements in their music as well. And kind of admittedly so, if you read Dave Mustaine's book, he recalls hearing Emerson, Lake and Palmer and that sort of being an influence as well. Way back in the early days. Rust in peace, baby. Megadeth.
Cody, give us your best Dave Mustaine impersonation.
You take a mortal man, control. Watch him become a god. That's a different album, anyway. That's kind of not to extend. Rust in Peace absolutely changed my life. It was a life-changing record for me, and it's the drumming of Nick Menza on this thing. It just if you haven't heard Rust in Peace and you want to hear just energetic brilliance top to bottom, that's exactly what's going on here. And there's no breathing. Like there's a little bit of a bass solo with Dawn Patrol, but it's just kind of like, it's very dynamic, but it's also like they're borrowing stuff from Al Di Meola on this record. They're pulling stuff from Return to Forever. They're pulling stuff from Chick Corea, Al Di Meola, and you can literally hear it in some of the songs and go, "Oh, that was taken off Elegant Gypsy." Like there's certain songs like, "Oh, Race with Devil Down Spanish Highway, Take No Prisoners." You know what I mean? There's a lot of it. I'm not saying it's ripped off or derivative. I'm saying that it's very. You can hear the inspiration. It goes just far beyond traditional boundaries.
No, that's my favorite Megadeth album.
Easily. I mean, I got a poster of it up on the door over here for God's sake. And then, okay, my last pick. I think Kevin will probably be able to predict this one. Maybe not the album, but certainly the artist. One Size Fits All. Zappa and the Mothers of Invention.
Yeah.
This is, and it's hard to pick with Frank records because they're all so.
It's
good.
impossible. There's so many. Just like Ian was saying.
I almost went with
How do
that
you
one.
pick one?
I almost went with that one. It's so great.
It was so cool that you mentioned Uncle Meat because I haven't heard that record talked about on any of these platforms. Never, not even on my own channel, but it's a great record.
Mhm.
I always talk about this one, and with good reason, because
because Inca Roads.
Inca Roads.
You don't need to even go to the next track. It's Inca Roads, and it's like, okay, I get it.
yeah.
So good.
And the second time I was on the Prog Corner here, I think we did our top 10 Frank Zappa songs, and that I think was my number one. This was going almost 2 years ago now, Scott.
Yeah, crazy.
And what a great ride it's been. But yeah,
It's
Chester
insane.
Thompson, for all the Genesis fans who might not be that aware of Frank Zappa, Where Have You Been Living, number one. But Chester Thompson on drums on this whole record. And it's the most brilliant record that he's on. I mean, you got Roxy and Elsewhere, you got Seconds Out and Three Sides Live. Seconds Out, my favorite live album of all time, but him just kind of having sort of creative control over this, and he's not playing parts that someone else wrote. This is totally his thing. I mean, obviously Frank wrote everything, right? But he's not fulfilling the spot of another drummer. And it's him in the studio just being absolutely kick-ass. It's an amazing record. The drumming on this, musicianship overall, Florentine Pogan as well, Andy, Sofa number 1 and 2, Pajama People. Obviously the money shot. The money shot is Inca Roads, but the rest of the album, it's a perfect album. There's not a second wasted. And you could say that with all these records. So, yeah, that's
awesome. Good picks, Cody. Good picks. I'm going to move things right along because we are going a little bit long here. I'm going to try to keep the pace up so that we can, keep our time stamp.
I tried to go fast.
No, you're doing good. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. But let's get Brent's opinion on this here whole idea of American music from a guy that's in an American prog band. So you should know a little stuff.
Very good one at that.
Well, thank you.
Very good American prog band too. I like it.
And I hope that Cody is stocking Emerald City Council and his record shop. He
better be.
Oh yeah.
So you can pick it up through most distributors. So I stuck to prog, but since Brad mentioned Patrick Leonard, I have to bring up Toy Matinee. Such a great album. If you're going to check out a new stereo system and see how it sounds, that's my go-to album to check it out. But getting into prog, first I'm going to go to Arkansas. I'm going to stick strictly to Arkansas and talk about a couple of bands. First of all, Leviathan from 1974. It was on Mock Records, distributed by London, the same London that distributed Rolling Stone albums and everything. They were from Little Rock, but they did most of their stuff around Memphis. Unfortunately, this was the only album that they did. One of the guys is still around Little Rock. I haven't met him yet. I hope to one of these days. But particularly, it's a little more psychedelic than prog. But I think particularly if you're a fan of Mirthrander, you would probably dig this. So you should check it out.
That's a cool album cover too.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mentioned this band when we were talking a while back, Rayburn. I want to talk about them. So this was a band, another Little Rock band, and the very sad story, they recorded all these great demos. The demos have been released. They're on Apple Music, Spotify. You can go check them out. Picture of them was very young guys, black and white picture, I think. But anyway, they got a record deal. They went to Nashville. They got a record deal. And then they went back home and they never heard anything. And it turned out that the main guy's father, who was very wealthy, didn't want his son to be a rock star. So he bought out the contract so that they didn't get. So
Wow.
that his son,
That's great. That's just great.
yeah, such a horrible thing. But years later, I think either in the early 2000s, sometime, they went back and re-recorded actual studio-produced versions of this with a Grammy-winning producer, and I can't read that, Ben Fowler. And anyway, I just happened to find this stuck away in a record store in the local area, and I had to rescue it. So definitely check that out. So sort of the precursor to Emerald City Council with some early Arkansas, definitely some early Arkansas prog. So, of course, you know that we are also very connected to Neil Morris. I'm going to be in the studio here in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to just quickly go through the ones with Neil that I want to talk about. Neil and Neil-related albums. First of all, we'll bring up the second Flying Colors album.
Oh, nice.
I mean, they're all three great. And Kiefer mentioned Crawl, which is fantastic. And Casey and I had a very long conversation about him having to carry that modulation into the chorus. But the second one with Cosmic Symphony, Open Your Eyes, is just such a great album. Mm-hmm. And then as far as Neil's solo stuff, Sola Scriptura, man, just such a great album, just a real powerhouse, probably his heaviest album.
Yeah, it is.
And then also somewhat Neil related, the second Pattern Seeking Animals album. Neil's not on this album, of course.
Prehensile Tales.
Yeah, Elegant Vampires, Lifeboat, Soon But Not Today, just such great stuff.
The last 30 minutes of that album, I think, is perfection.
Oh, it's just
those three songs, just boom.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, and now I'm going to go to my all-time favorite. Now, I almost picked V or 5, or whichever one you want to call it. I do have it on vinyl. Sorry, Cody. But anyway, I had to go with one because I was actually at this concert, one of the greatest concert experiences of my life. Snow Live with all 7 members, past and present. I was in the audience.
I've got that one.
If you watch the DVD, I'm in there a couple of times. You can see me in the audience for that. That was just such a fantastic experience, and love it all the way through. As far as moving forward with other ones, want to mention just a few others. Presto Ballet, Relic of the Modern World.
Their new album is awesome too, by the way.
You know, I've been having a hard time getting into that one. I've only listened to it 2 or 3 times. I hope it's going to grow on me. But the epic on this one, that's the title track, is the one that really just stands out to me as being, some of their best stuff. This was actually
I just love Metal Church. I've always been a fan of Kurt.
Yesterday.
Presto Ballet is awesome.
This was the album that got me back into vinyl collecting after many years when I first released that. And then I've got to mention, of course, I've actually been texting with Riley as we've been going on. My most listened to album of 2024 is Advent Horizon, A Cell to Call Home. Riley, of course, is a great friend of mine. Like I said, he's in the middle of nowhere, he said, with practically no cell service. Otherwise, he'd be watching this. They finished mixing the new album. It's going off to be mastered this week. We've several of us have heard the demos. I can't wait to hear the finished product.
Nice.
I know it's going to be just absolutely amazing, but these guys are really being real trailblazers, and I'm very honored to have shared the stage with them a couple of times, playing some sax keys and adding some vocals to them.
They're a great band.
They're a great band. Couple we've mentioned already. Quickly go through Star Castle's first album. As I said, their fourth album, it's got to be the worst rock album.
Their second album is, I think, even a little better for me.
You think so?
I think so. They're both, those first 2 are awesome, but maybe the second one a little more for me.
And I should also mention when I was talking about Riley, because Ian mentioned progressive soul, I almost grabbed it and brought it in, but check out the new album Willow and Pathogen. It's
There you
Willow
go.
Smith.
Yeah. Well,
It's a mix of soul, jazz, progressive rock, pop. It shows that modern pop can be really interesting.
good call. Good call.
Such a
Let
great
me write
album.
that down. What's that called?
She just goes by Willow, but it's Willow Smith. It's Will Smith's daughter. The name of the album is Empathogen.
Okay.
Really good.
EMPATHEN.
Got it. That sounds great, man. Sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, Riley and I have been geeking out about that album ever since it came out. I found it on vinyl, and he was very jealous.
Good record.
That I dug it out.
Yeah, thanks for the rec there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, check it out.
I heard about that because Rick Beato.
Yeah, it's a great album. We've already mentioned Pet Sounds, definitely proto-prog there. And of course, if you listen to Emerald City Council, you know that we are greatly influenced by Styx.
That's a great album.
Great band. And then moving forward, a couple of bands that a little more modern. Cody and Candria, and Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, I grabbed the wrong one. I grabbed Good Apollo.
You grabbed the right one.
That's okay.
You grabbed the right one.
Actually, my favorite one, but
that's their
Is
best.
that the band that puts out records in chapters?
Yeah.
That's Chicago.
But yeah.
Sarah would be happy.
And Keeping Secrets was the first one I heard, and I love that one. And speaking of the first one that I heard, Jeremy Nichols, our bass player in Emerald City Council many years ago, said, "Hey, you need to go listen to this album," and I did, and I did not regret it. Awake by Dream Theater, still my favorite. I love Metropolis, but Awake is great.
Yeah.
And then of course I can't play in a band with Olivgren without mentioning Kansas.
Yeah.
But instead of going with their studio ones, this is the one that I've listened to more than any, because it has Icarus, it has Journey from Maribron. The live version of Journey from Maribron is just mind blowing. And then of course my all-time favorite Kansas song is Paradox. I absolutely love it. This is just, I've had this since about 1989, and probably have worn it out. I made a cassette of it, listened to it in my car for years and years. And I'm going to mention one other. This is going to be a controversial one. I'm not going to say this is one of the greatest American albums of all time, but I think that it gets a little overlooked sometimes, and I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to talk about Kiss the Elder.
Hey, there we go. Why
not? So it's a little
Why not?
Now, here's the thing with this. This has been a very, very misunderstood album, I think. First of all, when it was originally released, they screwed up. The record company reorganized the track listing so that the concept and everything didn't go the way that Kiss actually wanted to. And in the new versions, they've actually fixed that. What I have said about this album multiple times is that this is a great concept album, but it is not a great Kiss album. If you're expecting a Kiss album, this is not it. This is them trying to do something else. So if you want to open your mind to something completely different and you're not expecting Destroyer or Rock and Roll Over, give this one another try, give it another spin, and open your mind to it.
You guys know Bent Knee, that band?
Oh, yeah.
The drummer, Gavin Wallace Aylesworth, that's one of his favorite albums.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's fun.
He introduced me to that album. Yeah, it's a fun album.
So, shout out to Ken Goldman.
I wouldn't say one of the best albums.
Yeah,
awesome.
Does he?
I wouldn't say it's one of the best American albums ever made, but I think that it's an album that doesn't get enough attention just because everybody was expecting, another Kiss album, and that was not it.
Kiss are amazing. I don't care what Cody says. Kiss rules.
That's right. We love Kiss around here.
We need to do a show in defense of Kiss.
We should.
Kiss are awesome.
I agree.
A Kiss album breaking. That would be awesome.
Kevin, you are up. You are going to take us home with the correct list.
I'll flip through mine quick. I picked ones that just mean a ton to me.
Yeah.
That just really impact, that I've devoured, that I listen to over and over. I wanted to do half modern, half classic. So I started with 5 of each. I interwove them, but I did do it as a top 10. So we're going to start out with, I could have picked a few of his albums, but I picked this one because let's see if I got my thing working. Oops, sneak peek in there.
Yeah.
Todd Rundgren, Something Anything. He played every instrument on 3 of this is a double album, so 3 of the sides he did everything on. an insight into his talent and his genius for things like skylighting that would come later on with XTC. So I'm a big Todd Rundgren fan, and I just devoured this album growing up.
If I remember correctly, that's the first record I ever heard.
Wow.
Okay, well.
Nice way to start.
Toy Matinee, it kind of came up, so I'll mention that one. Another album, just every song. I've listened to it so many times, doing so many things. Patrick Leonard and obviously Kevin sadly passed away. He may come up next week. Who's to say? I mean, where would we be if he had stuck around?
Yeah, right.
So we talked about the Smile album with Brian Wilson. That probably would have ended up a little differently had Kevin stuck around. Brian was a big fan of Kevin Gilbert. So anyway, Toy Matinee, love that album. Yeah. Evership, all four of their albums are great. You could pick any of them, but I think this one is particularly good. It's a concept album from a book that was written over 100 years ago. Styx, we've talked about them, and they got all their classic stuff, but I was running out. I did 5 classics, so I had to pick one of their modern ones. This album, brilliant
Crash
in my opinion.
That's the one.
That is the classic now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Future classic.
That's right there with Grand Illusion for me.
I have it ranked number 2 in their catalog.
Steely Dan, and this is my favorite Steely Dan album. I mean, obviously, Agent, all the rest, you got a bunch of great albums there, but this is the one that I completely devoured growing up. And this was the one that they kind of recorded it more like a band before they came the whole studio band thing, and I just love this record.
One of the great studio photos inside of that album.
Yeah.
With the guy in the overalls and stuff. Have you seen the footage that's come out from that tour? I think it's like, what is it, like Midnight Special or something like that with the backing singers?
No.
Oh, you got to check that
I need
out.
to watch that.
Yeah, you got to check that out.
So next up is, again, already was mentioned, but it's an album that I love, and I can't stop listening to it, and I listen to it over and over and over again, and it's brilliant from top to bottom. I mean, Jordan Rudess performs on it. He said, quote, "They've got vision, groove, and serious chops. I was happy to be part of it." So that tells you a little something about that record. But absolutely, these guys, I think, are going places. But this is their third album, but it's a great album. This next one, I could have picked one of probably 3 different albums, so it was really tough for me to pick which one. But I went with School's Out with Alice Cooper. But Welcome to My Nightmare, Billion Dollar Baby. Again, it's rock, but there's so much progginess in these albums. If you're a prog fan, you're going to like those records.
Oh, yeah. Love It to Death and Killers. Both have
absolutely.
lot of
that's
prog
even
on
more
there.
prog for sure.
And then the first 2 were on Zappa's label, so those were real wacky.
Pretties for
you, Easy Action.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff.
Number 3, I guess I'm at now. Again, one of my favorite American bands, the Deer Hunter.
I was waiting for Deer Hunter to be mentioned. Thank you.
The Deer Hunter, and 4 and 5. I mean, the whole series is great, but 4 and 5 particularly are amazing. So great there. Now we're down to number 2. Again, it's been mentioned, but I love it to death, and that's the first Ambrosia album. And I love the second album too, but this first album I just think was great. And
it's nice, very nice.
Yeah. That was Kurt Vonnegut was the guy that was co-written by him, for the sci-fi guy, that song. But David Pack, he was quoted on saying this album, we were just kids trying to sound like King Crimson and Yes, and somehow ended up on the radio. So if people don't think they're prog, that was their influences. Again, you got Alan Parsons helping them out there, but I just think this is one of those albums I could not listen. Every time it comes up on prog radio still, I'm just like, I never get sick of this. It's great stuff. And then number 1, you'll notice two people have been meticulously missing and absent from my list that are American geniuses, Neil Morris and Mike Portnoy. They have yet to make an appearance, and I intentionally left. I didn't want to, because I could do 10, my top 10 of nothing but Spock's Beard and Neil Morris this and Neil Morris that, and Mike Portnoy this and Mike Portnoy that. But no, it all comes together in my absolute number 1 favorite American album of all time, and that is Similitude of a Dream.
Number 11.
Mike Portnoy has said, this is the album I've been waiting to make all my career, the creative pinnacle of my career. That's what Mike Portnoy called it. So if you got Mike Portnoy saying, this is the best thing I've ever been part of, it's worth listening to. And I saw it live a couple of times, and just brilliant album. And that first pick kind of encapsulates all those. Mike Portnoy and Neil Morris, VPs of modern prog in my mind. Yep. And this kind of encapsulates all of their work into this one album.
That is the only album I have ever heard to be, how long is it? 110 minutes long. And I never get lost anytime. Yeah. You never get lost. It's the only double album of that length where there's no filler at all. Absolute masterpiece. Best thing Mike Portnoy ever did. Yeah, I didn't put it on just because.
Yeah, it's it's a YouTube show. We just we talk about the records we want to talk about. And
great choices.
With that in mind, I pulled some records, boys and girls. I'm gonna run through some records. Scott's turn. Oh, let's see here. Oh, can I hold them? Oh my! Oh, I hate how modern records are so heavy. They're always like triple albums and stuff. Why can't we just go back to the old days where it was
180 gram vinyl?
180 gram vinyl.
I think this is my top 20 for today. I don't know. Boston's first album, absolute masterpiece. Is it prog? Is it not? I don't know. You'll notice.
It is.
This is going to go alphabetical up until the final 5, which I guess will be my top 5. Cathedral, Stained Glass Stories. If you don't know this record, if you're a prog fan, if you say that the Brits had all the good prog in the 70s, you're dead wrong. Cathedral. Big fan of this band. Their third album is probably my favorite. It's Cheap Trick Heaven Tonight, man. I love every song off this album. Every single song is a winner. You clowns know I love my punk rock. Brad, this is a Bay Area band for you. It's the Dead Kennedys debut album, Fresh Fruit from Rotting Vegetables, and this is prog. This is back when they had a guy in the band called 6025. He was kicked out of the Dead Kennedys because he was too prog. Check out the song Ill in the Head on this album. It's as prog as it gets. Absolutely.
Take this job and shove it is awesome.
That's the best Viva Las Vegas.
28 seconds on.
Yeah,
awesome.
And they do a great version
my
of
5-second Dead Kennedy story. I was in a record store years and years and years ago, and a guy walked up to the counter and he goes, "Man, who's this you're playing?" And he goes, "Oh, dude, that's the Dead Kennedys." He goes, "Great. Now I know something to never buy."
Awesome.
Because he hated it, the guy, the customer.
That's the best. And is Jimi Hendrix American or British? Hey, the Brits are going to try to take credit for him. He's American, boys and girls. He absolutely is. As is Death Cab for Cutie. This Washington State band. I love Death Cab for Cutie so much. Ben Gibbard and dude, man, when he was still in the band before he left, I can't remember his name. Chris Walla. They're not as good without Chris Walla. Deerhoof, another Bay Area band, Brad, although they live in Brooklyn now. Deerhoof, Friend Opportunity. Hey, Kiefer, we're in Ohio, so we got to talk about Devo.
Oh, Devo.
Oh, man. Everybody wants to talk about their first album, right? Oh, Brian Eno produced that first album, so it's got to be great. Ken Scott produced the second album, and it's even better. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Devo.
And you know what? Everybody loves the first Doors album, but the second album's better. Strange Days. Making my list.
That was a better cover.
Super psychedelic.
Yeah,
that's my favorite Doors song. That's got my favorite Doors song on it.
Dream Theater's got so many great albums, but my favorite is Metropolis 2 Scenes from a Memory. You can make a case for a lot of them.
They're best.
You can, but I love that one for some reason.
All of them except Kevin's favorite, The Astonishing. You can't make a case.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, hard to make a case.
It's not my favorite, but I do defend it.
Ian, boy, oh boy, you got some good listening coming, man, because Happy the Man's reissued their first 2 albums. Well overdue, and just an amazing band. The first album had Mike on drums. The second album had Ron. And they're both amazing. How do you do that? Oh, like Bill Bruford and Alan White kind of deal. The first Jimi Hendrix album. Come on, man. Groundbreaking, earth-shattering.
Love that song.
I love Metallica. I almost pulled Injustice for All. I almost pulled Ride the Lightning, but the one in the middle is calling my name today, man. Their incredible third album, Master of Puppets. Let's go back to sunny California. San Pedro, to be exact. And, Husker Du put out a double album, and it really made Minutemen mad, so they had to do a double album of their own. Double nickels on the dime. They're called Minutemen because most of their songs are very political. Oh, and most of them are about a minute long. They do more in a minute than most bands can do in a side-long epic. What an incredible band. R.I.P. D. Boone. A lot of people loving on Spock's Beard 5. Sola Scriptura. I'm giving my vote to Question Mark. I've always had a soft spot for this album. Don't know why. Steve Hackett's on it. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Mirthrander. I love me some Mirthrander for you, the old women. Pixies Doolittle. There we go, Brent.
Oh, that's a good album.
Yeah, mine didn't get into the last act for some reason, but I meant to mention it.
Good. Man, I'm a big Pixies fan. Doolittle's my favorite. Not going to lie. Is Sufjan
Aren't they a Dayton band?
Kim Deal's from Dayton. The rest of them are from
I thought they were. One of them
is Sufjan Stevens Prague. I say most certainly, absolutely, Sufjan Stevens is Prague. And this album here is called Come On, Feel the Illinois. It used to have Superman flying around there, but apparently DC got to him, and that was that. Yes, the Urfa. Their album has been reissued by Dylan over at Noble Records. Thank you, Dylan. A dream come true. I never thought I'd own this on vinyl. I never thought I was going to. I'm not paying $2,000 for a piece of vinyl. You cats are crazy. And finally, in the alphabetical section, it's Frank Zappa. Which one did I pick?
Yeah.
I almost went with We're Only in It for the Money, Ian, because that album's just, it's got my heart. It's got my soul. You know, it's just absolutely amazing. You can take your clothes off when you dance. What's the ugliest part of your body? Concentration Moon, just on and on with greatness, but Inca Roads.
Yeah.
But Inca Roads. Okay, top 5 time, boys and girls. Then we're going to cancel this out. My wife has been so patient. Not one single note has been passed underneath the door today, and we're going super long at number 5. It's been mentioned repeatedly in the chat because you guys know what time it is. It's Chicago.
Yeah.
I knew Scott was going to bring that up.
It's not called Chicago 2. Let's not get cute. The name of this album is Chicago, and it's perfect, especially side 2. But the whole thing's perfect. You guys know how much I love Terry Kath, Peter Cetera, Robert Lamb. My first
Sorry, I was just going to say that got cut from my list like last minute, but I really wanted to talk about that one today, so I'm glad you did.
Chicago was the first band that I felt was my own. I loved the Beatles, and I loved a lot of the stuff that was being played in the house, but that was my dad's music or my older brother's music. Chicago was the first band that I fell in love with that was like my band, right? Okay, at number 4 from Dayton, Ohio, it's Guided by Voices, and their whatever album, I think it was like their 6th or 7th. It's B1000. They've only got like 100 albums out, so excuse me for not knowing exactly what number it is. This is the one that broke them. What an amazing band. Imagine like the greatest songs that you've ever heard recorded on the worst equipment ever heard, being beamed down from outer space, being played on the worst transistor radio you've ever heard. Your brain just wants to create all, like your synapses want to connect the dots, right? You want, oh man, I wonder if this would sound better if it was recorded in a studio, or your brain starts like, I wonder about if this, that, or the other thing. It's called Lo-Fi. It's Guided by Voices. Look it up. If you don't get it, you never will. Number 3, it Styx, The Grand Illusion. Yeah, I said Crash to the Crown was my second favorite album by them, and I stick to it. But nothing's going to beat The Grand Illusion, man. Nothing. Their 7th album. Released on the 7th day of the 7th month of the year 1977.
Which was my 7th birthday.
Come on, they knew.
That was my 7th.
You know what's cool is like when a band does something and you know they know. You know they know. There's a story about this band in my number 2 spot where they're listening back to the album. And they've been struggling for a while. In fact, the label's like, guys, we need a hit or you're going to be like gone. And they're listening back, and Steve Walsh and Kerry Livgren both said they started crying when they started listening back to the playbacks. Because, come on, sometimes you just know. And they knew their life was forever changed when Left Overture hit the stores. Nothing was ever going to be the same for any of those guys. They knew they were going from being like some obscure band that was like 3rd on the bill at some unknown festival to all of a sudden being headliners and being superstars. I love this album. Obviously, I am a big fan of the debut, but let's be 100% honest. Left Overture is the album. Well, what's going to be at number one? Can you guys guess what's at number one?
As soon as you take Norway and all these places out of the picture, we're clueless, Scott.
I know, right? And at number one, Brad had it. He understands the greatness. Mm-hmm. It's Todd Rundgren's Utopia. Yeah. I don't care about sound quality. I couldn't care less. It's perfect. I wouldn't want this to sound any different. To me, it does sound perfect. I love this thing. Yeah, you can cram 32 minutes on one side of music. Why not? You just lose all the mid-range completely out of the sound. Whatever. I don't care. Side 2 is all the icons. Side 1 is almost as good with Utopia and Freak Parade. The best thing I've ever heard, recorded on American shores. Wow, what a great show. I guess we lost Kiefer, so we're not going to say anything about him. But Kevin, thank you. Great show today. Brad Stone, Ian Bebout for his second time on the show. Brad for his second time on the show. Cody for his whatever time on the show. And the great Brent Bristow, in case you guys haven't heard. Emerald City Council is going to be playing live. So remind the boys and girls when and where that's going to be, Brent.
That'll be September 23rd. It's a Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. It is as I understand it, it is a free concert. You don't even have to buy a ticket. Just show up. Yeah, just come on up. And it will be on campus where I teach at Arkansas State University, BB, which is, as we talked about earlier, is about 20 minutes northeast of Little Rock. We're only about 2 hours from Memphis, about 5 hours from Tulsa. Really easy drive from pretty much anywhere, 5 hours from Nashville. So we would love to have you guys come on up, and we hope this is going to be the first of many. And we also started work on the new album about
that's right. Very, very good. Yeah. Very good. Yeah,
so we got a lot of stuff going on, and we're very excited. And I'm going to be in Neil's studio here in a couple of weeks, and looking forward to hanging out with him and picking his brain for some stuff.
There you go. A good show, one and all. Thanks again to all my guests. Thank you to all you guys in the chat. You were wonderful as always. I've got the best audience on YouTube. I might not have gotten like 1,000, people concurrent watching like Andy Edwards had yesterday watching the Black Sabbath show, but that's okay. Because the intellect of my 46 people on this chat right here, obviously far superior than, oh, wait a second. I was on the chat with Andy. Oh, man, I just called myself out. Anyway, boys and girls, I love you. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet, free Ukraine, free your mind, free beer, free Willie, and God save the king, boys and girls. Oh, yeah, we're going to save that cotton-picking king right now. Oh, yeah, that song gun needs to come to Ohio, doesn't he? Oh, yeah, Ian, we'll bring that boy to Ohio. We'll show them some good old Ohio hospitality. Oh, yeah, we will. Some good old fat. We'll give them Buckeye. Hey, what's this? Oh, that's delicious. What is it? It's a Buckeye, Chucky. Oh, yeah, come on down. Oh, yeah, then we got something else for him. Billy Bob, bust out them snakes. Oh, the king's going to be dancing with rattlesnakes. Oh, yeah, we're going to Hawking Hill, and we're going to be dancing with rattlesnakes at the old man's cave. Oh, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Thanks, Scott.